Hey guys, James Casey here in a flat water location testing how fast and slow these foils go. I'm here with
Josh Koo, and we're going to be testing it on the foil drive and the SUP.
Se io potessi veder che sorridi e bello fosse il giorno come un giorno è stato, vagando in questo giorno fatto per noi due, dicendo tutto ciò che si può dire in due. Se io potessi poi mostrarti i fiori che canta nella via per il mattin che nasce, che mostrano i colori come per narrare le cose più preziose per la luce e il sole. Se io potessi in fondo a questa strada trovare.
We're setting out to show people what's possible with a stand-up paddleboard in flat water and a foil drive in flat water, and also showing you the speeds that our foils lift. So give you a bit of a size guide.
Also want to show between the two of us if it's the equipment or the user.
We're only going to give ourselves one attempt on each. So I'm starting on the stand-up, Josh is starting on the foil drive. We're actually going to swap while we're out there to save time on changing foils. Yeah, one shot to try to get it up. If we fail, we fail. You're going to see it.
And we're using the same consistent parameters. We're both using a medium fuse, 150 tail, and we're both using the same mast. So we're trying to keep as consistent as we can.
In terms of our weights, I'm 84 kilos.
I'm 77 kilos.
We're going to see if that makes a difference on whether it's easier or harder to paddle up. I'm using a 75 mast, Josh using an 85, but it's the same for foil drive, the same for SUP, so it's a really good test. We're here at a flat water location because we can control the variables. There's nothing changing out there, or as best as we can, so nothing, it's the best test to see what works and what doesn't. Only changing the front wing, everything else is the same. But yeah, let's get into it.
Let's rip in.
Whew.
All right, so today with our test, we're going to be running the Max battery on the Max new Gen 2 foil drive unit. Okay, so on the foil drive app, we're going to be setting the boost to medium, and we're going to be keeping this consistency through the whole test.
Ci porta via, se io potessi aver tanta poesia, se io potessi non pensare a nulla, se io potessi.
So starting off, I'm using the 1300S, it's our biggest S series and should give me the most lift. See how it goes.
Io ti darei la mano e ti porterei via, insieme incontro al sole, io direi tutto questo quasi senza parlare.
So I'm starting off on a small unreleased R series wing. It's tiny, so we're just going to see how easy it is to get up or how hard.
Started with a 1300S, got up as you'd expect, fairly easily, was able to pump around for a long time. I then switched to the foil drive with our smallest unreleased R, and look, as you'd expect, I struggled, I couldn't get it up. I guess my extra weight didn't help me, but Kiwi made it look fairly easy.
No, it was super interesting. This is by far the smallest wing I've ever got up on a foil drive, and the technique's completely different. Like I was kind of just running on my chest as fast as I could with that medium boost mode on the foil drive, and nothing was really happening. So I got to my feet, I started doing a slow little porpoise thing, and it let me unrelease from the water. So it worked, but it only just got me there. And then switched to the 1300S, and it's an easy wing to paddle up, so there's no problem there.
Se io potessi veder che sorridi e bello fosse il giorno come un giorno è stato, vagando in questo giorno fatto per noi due, dicendo tutto ciò che si può dire in due. Se io potessi in fondo a questa strada trovar la barca che ci porta via, se io potessi aver tanta poesia, Se io potessi non pensare a nulla, se io potessi veder che sorridi, io ti darei la mano e ti porterei via insieme incontro al sole. Io direi tutto questo quasi senza parlare, quasi senza parlare, quasi senza parlare, quasi senza parlare.
Okay, that was super interesting. We just realized that the 615S is much harder to get up than the small prototype R thing that we were using, which is definitely smaller. Yeah, Jimmy?
Yeah, not even, like barely even getting to my feet on this 615S. So look, it's not possible in flat water for me, but I know I can do it in the waves. It's not recommended for flat water and, you know, getting up and having fun.
1130S, like what you'd think. It's quite easy to paddle up for guys like us, so nothing new there.
Yeah, 1130S was, you know, a little bit harder than the 1300S. Definitely pumping around. It was a little bit more like, I guess, sink, but look, it's going to get harder than that. 1130S was easy enough. So yeah, 680R, still not enough for me. I feel like my extra 7 kilos is making it harder. That's my excuse anyway. See if the big one gets me going. 980S was significantly harder actually to get going, but we both got up, so good test.
All right, so 960 on the SUP. This is my favorite little light wind wing, and it just, yeah, it got up quite easy compared to the last 980S. And then the real good test was the 720 on the FOILDRIVE was quite a bit harder to get up than the one before that, the 680R. So this is like really good testing right here.
I still didn't get up on the FOILDRIVE. I'll get there. So just tried the 770R with the foil drive, and look, finally got it up on the foil drive. The 770 seems to be my point that I can lift. I felt like I was close on the 720, but just couldn't get enough speed to get going. And then with the SUP 860, kind of my favourite, Molokai wing, got it going pretty good.
All right, so we met in the middle. We're both on the 850S. For me, that was the first time I paddled up on SUP on the 850S, and it was tricky, like a lot trickier than the R series. But with the foil drive, the 850 is what I usually use, and it was a breeze, I think.
Interestingly for me, the 850S felt a lot easier than the 770R for the foil drive, but it felt harder for the paddle up. I haven't done the 770 yet, but from my recollection in the past of the 770 and the paddle up. So for the extra cord made it feel easier on the foil drive, I guess is what I felt.
All right, that was a huge success for me. That 770R's been, it's been a killer. I've been trying to get it up in the flat and just then to get it on the first go. Super stoked. I think the real little trick that Jimmy just gave me was as you're going through the stage of getting lift off to bring your hands closer together on the paddle and continue that hard stroke through it.
I was coaching him through that one. I'm like, come on mate, you got this, 770 is doable for you. And no, it's really cool to see it happen.
And then the foil drive.
Yeah, the foil drive, that was the 860, was it?
Yep.
Yeah, that felt good, nice and easy.
Yeah.
Lifty, pumping around, good going. Yeah, so the crossover's happened. We're making the foil drive look really easy. This is on the 960, and the 720, that really tested both of us. Our cardio's up through the roof. I just got it going, had a one shitty paddle stroke that almost knocked me off. Josh pretty much had it, sort of ran into the dock, and there was a leaf that was on his mast I saw when he was up. So yeah, getting harder.
It was a different paddle experience. Like James said, cadence was everything, and it was just trying to put in as many paddles as you can as consecutively, and that kind of just got it up to speed, because the thing doesn't really want to glide. It just, you have to work it. You have to be like the motor for it.
Yeah, speed, paddle speed is king right now, and we're going to make it even harder with the next step down. Yeah, so the foil drive's getting easy now. The 980S felt like good, really nice. Easy to get up and easy to glide around. Really all the action's happening in the SUP stuff. The 680R to me felt a fair bit easier than the 720S, which is interesting because it's less surface area. I felt like I got up much easier, and once I was up I could glide around much better.
Never in my wildest dreams last night did I think I was going to get up the 680. The 770 was my goal, but now getting up the 680, it's just it's pretty impressive what these R-wings can do. Just before that, I tried the 720, and I would nearly call it a make. It's just the dock kind of got in the way, but this foil, it's just the glide that it has, it just allows you to get up once you get it to speed.
Yeah, so 680 easier to paddle up than 720.
I would agree.
Yeah.
So the real hard thing then was the 615S on the SUP. Jimmy went first and pretty much got there. He just kind of
got released, but didn't fly away.
And then I had an attempt at it just kind of for shits and giggles, and I actually got pretty close, so I was really stoked with that. I was detaching from the water, but just kind of ran out of gas, to be honest. But it's doable. It's fully doable.
Yeah, and it was just one attempt, and we just spoke about it. And for the smaller foils, we definitely recommend moving your mast a little bit further forward. We've kept the variable the same to keep it, the same to control the variables. But because there's less cord, the center of lift is further back. Therefore, you should move your mast a little bit further forward. So, one attempt at it, and we both got like feel and release. So we reckon we'd get it. Downwind, it'd be a no-brainer. Even in waves, it'd be a no-brainer, like small waves. But yeah, cool to see. 615's doable.
We just paddled up the smallest R wing that's yet to be released. I can guarantee that it's smaller than the 615S. And it was easier. It was a lot easier than the 615S. James reckons it was easier than the 720S.
100%. For me, I kind of stuffed up my 720 paddle up, but we only had one shot at it. One shot for the 600. It felt like I nailed it. Yeah, and glided away, pumped away for much longer, and the 6-something R felt way better than the 720S.
And I even, from the first 3 strokes that I did, I was like, I've fucked this up. Because I don't know, you just sometimes with your paddle ups, flat water paddle ups, you just know like maybe you're a bit tippy on the board, and I somehow recovered, and halfway through it I brought it back up and was not expecting that. So with the goal today of paddling up the 770R, and then now I've just paddled up the smallest R that's 2 sizes below that, I'm ecstatic.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see. I was kind of coaching Kiwi through it because I talked to you to downwind stuff, and I'm like, dude, you got this. And it just showcases the foils, and Kiwi 770 before this was the smallest he was aiming for, but nailed it. Pretty much the smallest R was it,
I think also not to forget about our big friend here, the 1300S. I think we both enjoyed on the foil drive. This was definitely the most enjoyable foil to just be cruising around in this harbour setting. You can do turns and then fall down to like a really slow speed and still pump your way back out of it. So if you're just cruising around boats like this in a harbour, I reckon this is your foil.
100%. From probably the 770 up felt easy enough for me to get up on the foil drive. I struggled a bit before that. But in terms of enjoyment, once up on foil and pumping around and turning, the 1300 was far and away my favourite once I was up and going. Even through some of the debris, sticks and logs, I sort of went through it and could pump back up with speed without using the foil drive. So
I think also a really good thing to mention is that when you've got such a big foil like this on, you literally pull the trigger for 2 seconds and you're up and going. You don't have to do this porpoise kind of technique where you're trying to get the board from the water up in the air. It just literally comes up itself.
It's worth mentioning we were using a depleted battery for the bigger sizes and a fresh battery for the smaller sizes. So we could try to control the variable as much as we could, but we knew there was going to be battery sag. So that's why we started smaller, give us the best chance, and bigger, test ourselves, I guess, with less battery.
All right, so the conclusion of our little project, there's definitely a few obvious ones that we already found out. We knew that the 1300 was going to be easy to get up on the foil drive and also easy to get up with the SUP. But I think the big thing that we kind of took away from this was the smallest wing that we both paddled up and got up foil drive was our prototype smallest R. And we can confirm that this is smaller than the 615S.
Yeah, to me the biggest takeaway was how weight significantly hindered my ability to get up using the foil drive. I don't think I got up until it's either the 680 or I think it was the 770.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't get the 720 up. So for the foil drive, that was a big thing for me. 770R was the first one I got up, so I couldn't get up anything smaller than that. Weight plays a big part. And realistically, in conditions like this, I would want to be using a 1300S anyway. I've gotten up the 615S in waves, and the Gen 2 foil drive video was on the 615S, and I was getting in on basically a little downhill, and it makes all the difference, all the extra speed. In flat water, not possible for me.
I think what I also learned too with the foil drive was there's definitely a technique in the flat water. What we were doing was pulling the trigger as hard as we could with these small foils and kind of generating that board speed along the water and then getting to our feet, but then wanting to kind of do little wiggles to then pop it up. And with the bigger foils like the 1300S, you didn't have to do that. You literally just pull the trigger, get to your feet, and you're up straight away. Yeah. So we learned technique with the foil drive then, which is pretty interesting. And
yeah, it's cool that we stuck to sort of one shot at it. It's not like we all of a sudden got better using a new foil. We only had it one go at a time. So I think it was a fair test. The other thing that really stood out to me for the stand-up was how I actually paddled up a smaller foil than I could foil drive. And look, you know, you could talk about board length and all this, that, the other, but realistically, I've just spent more time paddling than I have on the foil drive. So I think that's, tells a bit of a story.
I think too, as well, with us having the medium boost function set on the foil drive app, you get that high octane boost at the start when you pull the trigger, but then after a few seconds you lose that boost. But with James's SUP paddling, he can just continue that because he's a beast.
I could get more power, I felt like, from the paddle than I could with the medium, which is worth mentioning, the medium power of the foil drive. So I'd love to do it again, not right now because I'm buggered, but I'd love to do it again with the highest settings. I think I'd do better.
I think we would get it for sure.
The other thing for the paddling was how I certainly found the 720S and the 615S harder to get up than the smallest R, unreleased R. I also found the 680 easier than the 720.
With the S series, even though we were finding it harder to paddle up on bigger foils, the R just has this magic where even if you're using a tiny R foil, it just has this glide for when you're climbing and reaching paddle speed. It wants to continue at that glide speed. It doesn't want to drop out. I think the S series, because they're so suited towards surfing and turning, they just don't glide at that high speed. They don't have as much of a high aspect.
They're not designed for flat water, is basically, it's they're optimized for turning. Glide is incorporated, but they're all-round wings. And the R's are definitely optimized more for the glide, which, I think we showed that just now for both foil drive and SUP in flat water.
I think another big takeaway is I had goals today to get the 770 up, the R, and I've never done that before, and today I absolutely smashed that and got the 680 up, and then the smallest R one that's close to the 600 range. So it was a big win, and it just shows that don't let the numbers deter you from getting these wings or trying them, because literally just try them and then you might do things that you didn't think you could. Yeah,
it was the smallest I've never even tried the 100R or the 615S or the 720S, and to get close, we both agree we could get the 615S with a bit more, with a few more attempts at it. But yeah, it's all doable. It makes me feel like we need a smaller one for towing if we get close to paddling them up, so yeah, let's bring it on. To wrap things up, I guess what this really showed today is that it's important that you try the foils, and there's a lot of misconception, and if you compare one brand to another, it doesn't always tell the full story. So get out there, head to your local retailer. They all have demos, so hit them up, get your demo, get out there, and for more information, head to codefoils.com.
Se io potessi veder che sorridi e bello fosse il giorno come un giorno è stato vagando in questo giorno.